What is cracking with y'all, man? This is Cage TV back with another video. And we are back with the G Spot, where we go over player prop picks and betting, specifically just for the greatest football team in sports history, the Green Bay Packers, week to week. Right now, this team is standing at 2-3 on the road again to face off against the Denver Broncos at home at Mile High Stadium. As a gambling man, I would not touch this game at all. I would not bet on this game at all. But we're not gonna stop. We're not gonna stop from doing the show and the program or whatever. For those that will be betting on this game, but I will point out a couple other games that I will be betting on, just so you may know where you might want to look as well. So yeah, this is underdog player prop pick betting, and let's just break down this game. Now, both of these teams have been struggling, especially the Denver Broncos. You know, Sean Payton has been having a rough first season with this team, with the Denver Broncos being under new ownership, and this being Russell Wilson's second year playing quarterback for the Denver Broncos. Now that he's locked in for the future after signing a massive extension, where he's making $52 million a year, you have to ask yourself some questions of why this offense and defense is one of the worst in the league, if not the worst in the league. Now, they have been on a fire sale, getting rid of some of their players. They got rid of Randy Gregory and I think other defensive linemen. And, of course, the big, massive trade with the Seattle Seahawks is now you're starting to see the effects of that trade. So Sean Payton has his hands full. Just last week when they played against the Chiefs, that was an ugly game. And, this team just plays ugly football. And either you either gotta play the type of game that the Denver Broncos is gonna play and outplay them in it, or you gotta punch them in the mouth and dominate them where you see they have weaknesses and you take advantage of that. So let's get to some of these prop picks, man. We're gonna start off on the Packers side. Well, let's talk about the Packers. Well, the Packers, they have been struggling on offense. The offensive line has been struggling. We've been riddled with injuries. None of our guys have been healthy this whole season, from the running back position to the wide receivers, offensive line, linebackers, defensive backs. The Packers are just beat up. We came into the season beat up, but it's not how you start, it's how you finish. So you would think that the Packers would have a big opportunity to go out on the road once again. The only road win we have so far is against the Chicago Bears, and that was the first game of the season. We had the game we should have won in Atlanta. Only played one half of football, and they came back and beat us late. Then you have the road game against the Raiders, where we could have won the game, but just sloppy play calling and losing a few players in that game that could have probably helped us win the game, like Quay Walker and Darnell Savage. We could have won the game, but unfortunately we didn't win that. So now we're on the road again, facing off against another AFC team, the Denver Broncos. And let's get into some of these prop picks. Let's start off with Jordan Love. Now, I do not like Jordan Love's passing yards prop pick at 235. Now, I'm not saying he can't get it. It's just the fact that with Aaron Jones, I guess he's going to play. I'm not sure. They have him. They have him on the slate on underdog. With Aaron Jones being back, I just think that will take that will take some yards away from Jordan Love. I could see him. He probably will get it. He might get it, but I just don't trust it. They got him at 16.5 rushing yards. They got him at 32.5 pass attempts, 20.5 completions, 250 and 253.5 passing yards plus rushing yards and 17 fantasy points. Now, as god awful as the Denver Broncos are, you would look at those numbers and think those are possible to get. Those are possible to get. But no, all of these numbers that you see on these players and these prop picks, they tell a story, and it's based off of injury, how bad the offensive line played, how many points they given up, how many points that the Packers are scoring a game, and they all factor that in mathematically, and these what the numbers total out to. So, me personally, if I was going to bet on this game, which I might throw one slip in there, and it might be just a three. You know what? I'm gonna put a 3-player slip together, and I'll leave it at the end of the video. If it was me, I would go for Jordan Love's rushing yards at 16.5. I think he'll be able to get that. There will be some times where he might have to scramble, and I believe that Matt LaFleur will probably have a designed play in this game to where Jordan Love will probably have to run the ball. Now, Aaron Jones, they got him at 51.5 rushing yards, 2.5 receptions, 20.5 receiving yards, and 76 rush yards plus receiving yards. Now, that sounds like a high usage rate to me for Aaron Jones. Now, the receptions over 2.5, I might be interested in that. The 20.5 receiving yards, he could probably get that on one play. I might be interested in that, but I'm not touching it. AJ Dillon, 39.5 rushing yards. He'll probably hit that just based off of how, or if the Green Bay Packers will have Aaron Jones on the pitch count. I'm pretty sure they will, which will probably open up a few opportunities for AJ Dillon to have a big run or two, but I don't think I'll touch that because he's looking more like a goal line threat to me at this point if the Packers do get in the red zone. Christian Watson, they have him at 51.5 receiving yards, 55.5 receiving and rush yards, and 9.5 fantasy points. Now, Christian Watson could probably get the 51.5 on one play. And I think he's done it once in a Raider game this year. So there's a huge chance he could get that also. I'm 50-50 on that. The 9 fantasy points, I like that too, because he could get that on one play if he has a big bomb down the field for 65 yards and he get the touchdown. There go your 9 points. So that's very interesting. Jaden Reed, 2.5 receptions, 27.5 receiving yards. Now, he could get the 27.5 off of one play, too. He's done it before where Christian Watson has thrown a 30-yard pass down the field and he's caught it. So he has the potential to get the 27.5 off of one play. Romeo Doubs, 3.5 receptions, 39.5 receiving yards. You could probably go over on the receiving yards because I think he'll get over 40 just based off of last week the week before the bye, him not getting that many passes funneled his way. You know what I'm saying? So I think if I'm Matt LaFleur, I would come out there with a balanced offense attack instead of trying to do blind play actions to Christian Watson all game. No, you got to simplify things. So, if they come out there and play a simplified game, then I'm expecting Romeo Doubs to have some targets funneled his way. And you could, Luke Musgrave, he's in play, 33 and a half receiving yards. That's a big possibility in this game if you want to roll with that. It'll probably drop. Remember, all of these prop picks do change, you know what I'm saying, based off of, what Vegas is doing. And the Packers are favored to win this game, but all the money is being bet on the Broncos to win. So, you got to look at stuff like that. Anders Carlson over 6.5 kicking points. I like that a lot. I think all he has to do is kick a 40-yarder and a 30-yarder, and there go your 7 points. You know what I'm saying? You got your 7 points right there. Just 2 field goal kicks at that range, and then you got your 7 points. And then if we do score, that's added points too. So I do like Anders Carlson over 6.5 kicking points. So yeah. And we'll get into some defensive prop picks because they do have that on here too. Just be careful. Make sure you do your research, especially on the defensive side of the ball, to see which guys are engaging into the most tackles each week. You know what I'm saying? And it could be based off of, like we see Michael Parsons. He got that one sack against the Chargers on Monday Night Football, and that was, I think, the only tackle he had in the game. You know what I'm saying? Because they were passing so much. Even if they were running the ball a lot more, then you probably would have seen Michael Parsons with more tackles, but he only had that one sack. So be careful with that. I do like Rudy Ford with 1.5 assists, and I do like Rashawn Gary over a sack and a half. So, those are the two guys on defense that I trust the most. You know what I'm saying? Making tackles. You could throw in a little bit of Rasul Douglas in there too. He's been sticking his nose in there and making tackles. Or you could roll with Darnell Savage if he will play. I don't know. He's limited, so we will see. Now, on the other side of the field with the Denver Broncos, you have Russell Wilson at 218.5 passing yards, 22.5 rushing, 29.5 pass attempts, 19.5 completions, half an interception, and 16.5 fantasy points. Now, I do like the interception prop that he will throw one. And I do like the 22.5 rushing yards because he will run out of the pocket if Rashawn Gary and Preston Smith and Kenny Clark are closing in on him while he's trying to make a pass play. I do believe he will run out of there. Then you got Javonte Williams, 48.5 rushing yards, 11 rushing attempts, 10.5 receiving yards, 62.5 rush plus receiving yards, and 9 fantasy points. The only thing I like about this is the rushing yards, 48.5. That looks real tempting, and the rushing attempts with 11. I think he'll get more than 11 rushing attempts, and then he might have over 10.5 receiving yards. So it's a couple of prop picks for Javonte Williams that look pretty juicy that you might want to invest in. That I think he could probably hit, knowing that the Packers can't stop the run game. And I think they'll funnel a couple passes his way. Russell Wilson, he'll throw the ball to the running back. He's done it before. They got a couple runners. You got Jaquel McCollin with 33.5 rushing yards. I think he'll get that. A couple big plays up the middle. Maybe to the outside where the Packers really lack at stopping the rushing attack on the outside. And up the middle. We just don't have the guys for that. Cortland Sutton and Jerry Jeudy. Cortland Sutton, 4 receptions, 51.5 receiving yards, 51.5 rush plus receiving yards, and 8 fantasy points. Then you have Jerry Jeudy with 46.5 receiving yards, 51.5 rush plus receptions, and 8 fantasy points. Now, I will probably, out of these two receivers, I'll probably roll with Jerry Jeudy just based off of the narrative last week with him not getting the ball to him. I think that Sean Payton and Russell Wilson find a way to get the ball to him, and I like the over 46.5 receiving yards. And then on the defensive side of the ball, uh, Pat Surtain, I think the second. I like his over 3 tackles plus assists. I like that because that guy is going to be flying to the wherever the ball is going to be at, and more than likely he's going to be in on some tackles. So, those are, some of the guys I was looking at. Remember, bet responsibly. These props are subject to change, and not all of these props will be available up until game time. But like I said, if I was betting this game, I would probably bet the game live. Soon as halftime hit, go on the app, look and see where the numbers is at, see where, they get majority of their numbers at. If it's in a run game, the pass game, then, you make your decision up to that. Who's getting the most passes, who's getting the most yards, whoever is getting the most yards in the receiving, they the one that is beating a man. They beating a man. So, just, analyze everything. Do your research, analyze everything. You know what I'm saying? Especially defense versus position. That's one of the biggest things that you really need to look at. And also, where do these teams rank in certain categories? Where do they rank as linebackers? Where do they rank as a defensive line? Where do they rank as at the safety position? Where do they rank at the right tackle position? You know what I'm saying? That will give you, it's like a cheat code. So, make sure you do your homework, man, when you're doing these prop bets. I won some money on the Thursday night game with the Jaguars and Saints. Shout out to Alvin Kamara. Shout out to Chris Olave. Who else got me some money? Oh, shout out to the kickers. Shout out to both of the kickers. And it was another player. I can't remember who it was, but I'll post it at the end of this video. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, man. Thank y'all for tuning in to the G Spot, man. And if I was to pick a team to win this game, I would have to probably roll with the Denver Broncos beating the Green Bay Packers. Just based off the fact that, Russell Wilson is a better quarterback than Jordan Love. And I hate to say that. I really do hate to say that, but I just think that, it's home field advantage. I think the Broncos are very, very desperate for a win. And I think the Packers will compete for a certain amount of time, and then I think they'll run out of gas up there. You know what I'm saying? I don't think we have the best conditioned guys in the league, just, based off of their performance. These guys are not conditioned up to expectations that you would like to see your players be at, your team be at. They not acclimated like the 49ers. They not acclimated like the Eagles. They just not. They not acclimated like the Miami Dolphins. So I just think that the Broncos got an advantage in this game, and that's being at home, desperate for a win. And I think the Broncos win. I don't have a score because both of these teams, the Packers are starting to drop in scoring, and the Broncos, they only put up 9 points last week, I think, against the Kansas City Chiefs. So who knows, man? This might be a 10-13 type game, man. We don't know what we're gonna get. But hey, if the Packers win, hey, they win. We're a 500 ball club, but just from outside looking in and seeing who has the advantages, I just think that the Broncos had the advantage, and that's only because the quarterback. And I'm not saying that the Packers don't know how to play Russell Wilson, because they played him before and they know how he operates. I just think that it's a different team, different cast, and different coach. And, this would be a huge opportunity for Sean Payton to outcoach Matt LaFleur. And that's who I'm rolling with. I'm rolling with the Broncos to win this game. You know what I'm saying? If you don't like my pick, sue me. I'm out. These are the 3 players I'm going with. And these are the 2 other teams that I'm going to be looking into. The Raiders and the Bears and the Browns and the Colts.